New videos every day.
Do you feel like you have to pee all the time? Or maybe you feel like you never get a signal that you need to empty your bladder until it's too late. Or maybe you're always feeling like you're looking for the restroom wherever you go. Or you tend to put off urinating until the end of the day or until you get home. Does it really matter? What's normal for your bladder anyway? Taking note of how often you empty your bladder can give you a lot of good information about how well your bladder is working. By normalizing your bladder pattern, you can help your bladder to stay healthy and to maintain good control. I'm Bennatt of the Relate Center. I'm a physical therapist specializing in pelvic health for men and women. I have many patients who have difficulties with their bladder. One of the most important things that I teach them is how to normalize their bladder pattern. This helps their bladder to work normally, the way that it should, and gives them better control. In this video, we will discuss what's a normal bladder pattern, why it is important, and what you can do to self-assess your own bladder pattern and work to normalize it. So let's discuss what's considered a normal bladder pattern. For an average adult, it's considered normal to empty your bladder about every 3 hours during the day and to get up to empty your bladder 0 to 1 times during the night. Frequency, or how often you're emptying your bladder, can be highly variable though. It really depends on how much you're drinking, if you've had any caffeine or alcohol or carbonated beverages, and how much you're perspiring or sweating. An even better way to determine a normal bladder pattern is to look at how much urine you're voiding or emptying from your bladder each time you urinate. It's considered normal to empty about 1 cup of urine each time you urinate during the day, and about 1.5 or 2 cups of urine when you urinate during the night or first thing in the morning. Remember, the best and most accurate way to consider a normal bladder pattern is to see how much urine you're emptying each time you empty your bladder. So let's discuss why it's important to have a normal bladder pattern. It's helpful to first understand how our bladder works. Our bladder is designed to work on a stretch reflex. When the bladder becomes moderately full, the walls of the bladder are stretched. That stretch sends a signal to our brain, giving us a sense of urge or telling us that our bladder is full. If we empty our bladder too often, our bladder becomes more and more sensitive. The bladder starts to signal us when it's only a little bit full. This leads to overactive bladder syndrome and symptoms such as urgency and frequency, and sometimes incontinence or leakage of urine. If we don't empty our bladder often enough, if we tend to put off urination on a regular basis, the bladder can become less sensitive to filling, and the bladder can start to overfill or fill beyond capacity before it signals us. This is also a cause of urinary incontinence called overflow incontinence. Remember, maintaining a normal bladder pattern helps the bladder work as it's designed. The bladder fills, gives us a signal, and then we empty our bladder. So let's discuss how to assess your own bladder pattern and how to normalize your bladder pattern. The best way is to keep a bladder diary. Simply write down each time you empty your bladder and how much urine you emptied. You can measure the urine using a measuring cup, or you can simply count the number of seconds from when your stream begins until your stream ends. I tell my patients to think, count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and so on until their stream ends. 1 Mississippi is approximately 1 ounce of urine. 8 Mississippis is about 1 cup of urine. Take an average over 3 to 4 days of how frequently you are emptying your bladder and how much you empty each time you urinate. If your frequency or how often you're emptying your bladder seems to be high, and the volume of urine that you're emptying on average seems to be low, you may be emptying your bladder too often. Try to put off urination until you get a signal that you need to go or until your bladder feels full. I tell my patients to try to wait and not go just in case. If on average your frequency seems too low, meaning you're not going very often, and your volume or the amount you're emptying seems really high, you may not be going often enough. Try to really listen for the signal from your bladder. When you get the signal that you need to go, respond to that signal and empty your bladder within a timely manner. Remember, normalizing your bladder pattern can help you to improve the function of your bladder and help your bladder to work better and give you better control. Keep in mind that abnormal bladder patterns can be the result of side effects of certain drugs and can be related to more serious medical issues. Be sure if your symptoms become worse or persist, consult your doctor for a thorough evaluation and request a referral to a physical therapist who specializes in pelvic health and bladder disorders. By understanding what is considered a normal bladder pattern, why it is important, and how to assess your own bladder pattern and normalize it, you can help your bladder to stay healthy, you can improve your control, and you can keep your bladder working as it is designed to work. I'm Bennatt of the Relate Center. You can go to my website at www.relatecenter.com for more information on my practice and also to read an article about habits for a healthy pelvic floor. Please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.